Call the meeting to order, the Oxford Downtown Development Authority, June 17th. Please rise and pay respect to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Catherine, could you do roll, please?
Sure. Let's start with Schultz.
Here.
Charles.
Here.
Powers.
Here.
Colvin here. Carey.
Here.
Piper. Thank you. Knaus, Cook, and Clark are
Excused. Thank you. Do we have any public comment on non-agenda items? Seeing none. Consent agenda. Approval of the proposed agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
I, discussion, I need to amend it to add 9B, and it's regarding the Washington Square painting.
9B.
9B.
There's a 9B there already. It says strategic planning and training.
No.
That's unfinished old business.
Oh, okay.
First page.
This current agenda.
All right, sorry, I see it.
Undergrad MLA. Okay, what are we in?
Washington Square painting, I think was the ad.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Should be under the dragon on the Bullock boat race.
9B.
We have a motion and a second. We have to vote it down.
Yep. So the motion was to accept the proposed agenda and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? No?
We vote no.
Oh,
We have to vote it down in order to
Yeah.
read.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Sorry.
all in favor? Hearing none. Opposed?
Nay.
Nay, nay. Okay. Now,
I'll make a
Okay.
motion to approve the consent agenda with the additional of 9B, Washington Square painting.
I'll second that again, or second that rather.
it's been moved by Colvin, seconded by Charles to amend it. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Approval of the May 24th meeting minutes, police report, and the code enforcement report.
I'll make a motion to receive and file the meeting minutes for May 2024, the police report, and the code enforcement report.
I'll second.
Moved by Carey, seconded by Powers. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same thing. Financials. The financial statement, revenue expenditure report, and the bills.
I admit, I go through this ahead of time, but when I get here and look at it on paper, I always fumble through it.
Can't find the right page. Oh,
What page are we?
well, it's not numbered, but it's this one. This is the total?
Yes.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve and file the financial statements and expenditure reports for May of 2024 in the amount of $26,670.84.
Second.
Moved by Powers, support by Colvin. And paying the bills in the amount of $26,670.84. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Piper.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
Powers.
Yes.
Carey.
Yes.
And Colvin, yes.
Thank you. DDA reports, executive director's report.
I'm going to put this one on the bottom and go through committees first, but it's fine, we'll just fly through it. Congrats to the board for winning the Business Retention and Attraction Award through Main Street, Oakland County. That was a really fun night, and thank you for those that could attend. We hosted our first line dancing, Line Down Wednesday, car shows. Unfortunately, had to cancel concerts because of the weather that was supposed to come in and that didn't really come in. So we're ready for this week, but everything was great. We had a ton of drop-ins for line dancing and made additional money that night from drop-ins. So continuing to grow that fund, and it was a really just nice to see that many people downtown. We sat on 2 project planning meetings for new developments within the downtown. It's nice to see that some additional residential is going to be coming in, and there's going to be a 3rd one next week that we'll be sitting in on. It's nice that the planning commissions, the village council is asking us to each time do a memo in our support if it falls within our district. So working right alongside Joe to really understand the project and then be able to give our recommendation to planning commission. We hosted ladies night on Friday. We coordinated Thrive trainings for social media that will be rolling out to the business owners. That will be a free class for them. We're able to partner with the new Oxford Theater Company, and they will now be running improv shows before all of our concerts, which I think will be a lot of fun. Met with 2 new potential businesses that are looking for space, and also helped one find a space today where they signed a contract, so an additional business coming into downtown. We stained the trolley and sanded it. Thank you to Pete. Endless hours of his time out there. We worked with 20 volunteers over 3 days of full days, getting all of that done, and it looks beautiful. Got our interns completed their training. They hit the ground running. I don't think they knew what they were in for, but they've been doing an awesome job and definitely have been utilizing all of their time and keeping them busy. We had our golf outing with the chamber this past Friday. We were proud to come in last place, but it's fine. Pete did really great golfing for sure, Pete and Wendy. We hosted the managers meeting for Oakland County on Friday as well, so their team came in and they rolled out something called the Boom Tracker through Main Street America National, which is a program that we're going to be able to utilize for free. But what it does is we have 308 parcels within the DDA district. It's a tracker that we can go in and input the information so that from now on, if somebody is coming into town looking to do a development, or a business wants to come into town and they want space, this actually shows what each of our parcels is meant for, if it has any type of history to the building, who owns the building, and it also shows all of our data and analytics, like retail compared to residential, condos compared to apartments, things of that nature.
Okay.
So I think it'll be really nice, and hopefully with Holly being in real estate, she'll appreciate that too. I think it'll be really helpful for our team. So we're going to be rolling that out at Economic Vitality and getting that group to help us there. We had a call with Shop OC Main Streets, which is our e-commerce site, and out of the 10 communities, they highlighted Oxford for being the best promoter of Shop OC Main Streets. We've posted the most, shared the most. We have the #1 business for sales on Shop OC Main Street, so that was nice to be that out of the 10 communities. We did tours with the first graders downtown Oxford. So they came to our office, learned about local government, and then their teachers were able to take them to 4 of the locations, Oakland Corners being one of them, that got to visit with the students that day. Planted all the remainder of the flowers and cleaned up the community spaces, put additional furniture together. We had a round table with all Oxford community leaders with the new superintendent and let them know what the DDA was about. And then we met with some students that were interested in doing IB projects and writing articles on the downtown. And let's see, there was one more in there. I can't remember, I think that was it. Oh, we went to the chamber breakfast, the Coffee Connect in the morning as well. So it was a busy month, but I feel like with 2 interns, we're kind of able to divide and conquer. So we have all 4 of us running different directions.
Very good. Any questions? The board committee report?
So a couple things out there, I won't go through everything on the list here. The first one, that bylaws, we had some discussion, a little bit of confusion there, so we're gonna be working on changing a couple words, nothing radical, but just a few things there. I guess the key issue is for all of us to know that the board is composed of different constituent groups. We need to have people that own businesses, such as Marie or Bryce, or people such as Grace that live in the DDA district. So we always got to keep an eye on that. That was, I would say, the heart of the conversation, that those people that have a vested interest in the district itself by virtue of a business relationship or living there. The trolley, Kelly, I taught that trolley, it's like, we might as well just put it every meeting for the rest of the year or forever, it seems, right? So I won't go through that. Historic plaques, I'm excited about that. I've been trying to get that done for a couple of years now, as you know. So Kelly, thanks for getting that going finally. I think this thing you mentioned with the county, that's perfect. That's business and history combined, so that'd be really cool. I think that, I know for a fact from other communities that that is a major attraction for a lot of people. And then strategic plan, Kelly can talk about that later if we need to. Grace, how about if I turn over the 501 to you, so you discuss that, because that's something you said you're interested in, the 501 board?
Yeah.
Or not? Do you want to just mention that?
Later on the agenda, like we go over.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's a whole agenda item.
All right, then we're good.
Very good, thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
So Rod, for the changes in the bylaws, I'm assuming that'll come before us, the
I
whole
couldn't
board.
hear you. What's
to-
that?
For the changes that you're making to the bylaws, that'll come before the whole board for us to
Yes, it
approve
has to, right.
finalization? Okay.
It's just some minor words there to clarify. There's nothing radical,
Yeah.
though. If you have some other ideas on other issues, let me know. We can put that while we're doing it,
Yep, no, I was just wanting to
No,
make
no,
sure.
yeah. It's like shalls and wills and woulds and coulds, those kind of words there. We want to make sure we have things perfectly clear.
And that's just to make sure it aligns with the Public Act that has those requirements in it. Okay. Yep, thank you.
The EV committee report?
Oh, that's me. Okay. So we had a very busy month for the Economic Vitality Committee. We have started looking into some potential opportunities for creating kind of an entrepreneurial incubator space in the downtown. So the committee as a whole, we've been doing a bit of research on peer communities, types of projects that they have done. One that we found very inspiring is the Western Market out in Muskegon. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, the city manager partnered with a community foundation in the area, and they built these small business chalets or micro business chalets for entrepreneurs who are trying to start a business for the first time. And they are quite literally retrofitted Home Depot tool sheds that have been, added, an AC unit has been added, and each of the entrepreneurs who come in are able to actually design the inside to fit their business need. But what it ends up creating is a very low risk space for someone to try having a business. So it's low risk both on our end, they're very affordable, not very expensive to build out. And it's also low risk for the entrepreneurs in that it maybe costs a couple of $1,000 for an entire season. There would be standardized market hours that they would have to be open. They could be open more if they wish, but it doesn't require someone taking out a lot of loans just to try out having a business. So there's been a lot of success in communities like Muskegon and Lansing and elsewhere that have done different projects like this. So we are doing a bit of just a survey right now. We actually have a site visit tomorrow in Pontiac. I believe the city is developing out an incubator space similar to the chalets. So we're gonna go just learn more about what they're doing, how much it costs, what it looks like, so we can get a better idea. We've also started scouting out some possible locations in the downtown. So we're trying to establish some relationships with different partners in the community to see if we can use like grassy areas on their property to maybe put in 5 or 6 of these little incubator spaces. That's something we've been thinking about a lot as we've talked about the kind of farmers market to storefront pipeline that we've been trying to create in the community. We've already seen a couple of our market vendors move into brick and mortar spaces in the downtown. So we kind of want to create that middle space for someone who maybe had a market stand, isn't quite ready to take on, a couple-year lease in a storefront, and wants to try out having an actual little business for a couple of months. So that's on our radar right now. We're trying to identify possible locations and funding opportunities for that. Also, been keeping up to date with the patio passport that the promotions committee and our wonderful interns have been working on, so excited for that. We've looked over the survey for the strategic planning, which we will talk about, I think, a bit further on the agenda today. And yeah, we're going to try to coordinate some further action on our partner appreciation project, where we will be going to different partners in the community. We're trying to reimagine that right now into maybe 1 or 2 events a year instead of going out to each partner in the community to have that kind of conversation about what we do in the downtown, why we do it, and how we collaborate together across the community. So that's our updates for this
Very
time
good.
around.
Promo committee.
So promo, Bryce was at our meeting, but he's not here tonight, so I'll just go over it real quick. Just talked a lot about concerts, and our vendors want to do on-site activation, the sponsors this year. So we restructured the park and talked about that. We will be roping off an area for the kids so that they're not running back and forth in front of the gazebo this year, fighting with the balloon swords that I'll be making them. And so I think that this will be a better experience and atmosphere for everyone. And we chatted a little bit about summer markets and our kickoff coming on July 11th. We have a large overflow of vendors that are continuing to add on each day. So started to potentially talk about maybe next year, do we bring in a second space for the vendors? This has been a great moneymaker for us as a DDA, and we do feel like the community really loves it, and the vendors, I think it's a great thing to have a vendor market on a Thursday, because so many are on Saturdays, but Thursday doesn't really compete with anything around us, so they really like the opportunity, and the shortened season, we've gotten great feedback from. Talked about ladies' night, and then weekly activities. We're going to be gearing up for cornhole here, so a lot of work on that. We've tasked the interns with all of that, and then set our date for Scarecrow Fest, which is September 29th, when the Lions do not play. So I'll
Thank you.
expect you to be there, no? Which seems to be really good. We did it last year and we had a great turnout, so we are excited about that. And then our American Summer July Pub Crawl is June 28th. That's actually through a third party. Brian Burney, who usually runs it in Lake Orion, it's his 10th year running in Lake Orion. They brought Oxford onto the pub crawl this year, which is wonderful. Our bars and restaurants are very grateful. I think it'll bring additional business into town, and they usually donate back to a nonprofit that ties both to Oxford and Lake Orion. So we asked him if he would take the donations and donate it back to the trolley program, since that benefits both of us, and he said yes. So that'll be additional revenue that we'll have for the trolley program this year.
Kelly, will they need to add another shuttle that night?
So they actually have 12 additional notice shuttles running that night with the trolley.
Fine.
Yeah, it goes all over.
Okay.
It's pretty big, it's very well done. We just kind of got to jump on this year, and, you know, we're helping promoting on our side, but he's doing all the legwork, which is nice.
Good, thank you, Pete. That's Rod.
Couple of things. I mentioned, I can't remember, that Joe Pryor at the township had some suggestions, if you give a call sometime, about events in town. He started telling me, and I said, you know, or maybe Catherine, you can talk with Joe about it. He had some recommendation. Yeah, I guess you're the township representative. Then two, if we could on here, who's at the meeting or not?
Oh, sure, sorry.
No, I mean, it's small potatoes, but you know, we always.
Yep, thank you.
Could be issues later on if things pop up. I'll talk about that later on. And the other thing, the farmer's market, I just want to say, I hear nothing but good things about our farmer's market.
Thank you.
And yourself and Kimberly should be complimented. It's really been a great success. I mean, the whole thing you've done in Washington Square has been phenomenal. And the farmer's market's been well received, well done. So, and in fact, you guys know I go up to the East Taos area sometimes, and they've actually, one of the towns up there canceled their farmer's market. I might have sent you something, I can't remember, because they didn't have enough activity. But now look at ours, you guys are, you know, bulging at the seams.
Yes, we are. We're gonna be in the parking lot a wee bit this year, with some blocked phones for spaces, so, and just because There were some additional ones that came in that were so unique that we felt like would really draw. I mean, the pierogies are coming back and they drive an hour. We had people who drive from Lansing for an hour and a half for just to be vendors at this one. So we added a few additional spaces.
Cool.
That's-
All right. Design committee?
Design committee, okay. Planter boxes, they're going to be here soon, or
No,
they?
there's 3 already in Washington
Oh, they're already
Square.
there.
We have to fill the greenery. They're beautiful, well-made on casters that lock. We need to get the actual greenery to go in them to create that height and that sound barrier.
Yeah, which is great. New furniture for behind Victoria's, we're waiting till that construction is done before we put anything back there, just to avoid any problems that could arise. Sign grant for Summer Sundays, we're still waiting on, we're expecting it, but we have not seen it yet, so hopefully we can get that in for next month. Budget we talked about, all of our events, line dancing, Hots and Horsepower, Wind Down, and concerts in the park all start, well, they should have all started last week, but concerts in the park will not start this week because of weather. The Ladies of the 80s night was Friday. I saw some 80s ladies running around, very nice. Summer markets start in July. We're still looking for a farmer to commit. We want an actual farmer, did you find?
That's correct. So we have some smaller stands that have some produce, but we're looking for an actual farmer with a robust variety. And we made additional calls again today. So we've been searching.
Tossing Tuesdays start in July as well, but that's already sold out, so that's good to know. That's cornhole tournament. Ping pong table's been set up in Washington Square. Everyone saw the big checkers that, of course, blew away, but don't work me on it. Patio furniture is there. Centennial Park, we're having a kids zone. We did talk about putting vendors along 24 when we do concerts in the park for a couple of reasons, to keep the kids anybody from wandering, but also as a noise barrier for the 24 traffic, which is just loud. What else? The courtyard mural should be done by the end of the month. The window planters have been planted, haven't they?
Yes.
Yes, so those are done. Talk about putting a mural at K-Blocks, the new barbecue place. And what else? We've planted, flowers were planted, trolley has been cleaned and stained, and from what I understand, unfortunately wasn't there, but it'll work.
Yes,
So thank
only
you.
one thing, we went on the inside and cleaned it because I did forget to mention the Oakland County team brought up the CEO of Main Street, Erin Barnes, and we rode the trolley with her and were able to introduce her to Oxford. So she flew from New York just for that day. And we were one of the communities that they visited, so that was nice. She loved the trolley.
Did she? Great, that's great. And then we had the Main Street event June 6th, which Kelly mentioned we won the Small Business Retention Award. And then the strategic planning is on the agenda, so we'll talk about that. And I think that's it.
What's this Thursday's concert? Which group?
Bon Jovi tribute.
Jovi. It's gonna be great, and we have Choice Therapeutics sponsoring. So they're actually going to bring their tent with their massage chairs and do free massages for everybody. So, come to concerts.
Sounds good. All right. Moving on, unfinished old business, strategic planning and training.
Yes, so July 29th, I think I shot out a message, but 5 to 8 p.m. And our thought was, I think we have everybody committed. I heard back from almost everybody. We just have one missing. So it'll be board members and also committee members. And our plan will be to have everyone meet together for the first hour and a half. And then for the last hour and a half or hour, we'll have just the board and we'll take all the items that we spoke about and really nail down what exactly we want to do with Christina when she comes in to run the strategic planning. Haven't asked Marie yet, but hoping to host it at Long Brown
What's the day of the week?
Monday.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking that it would be nice to be able to eat And if people would like to order soda pop, they can.
I'm sure we can make it work.
Okay, so, I want it to be fun and creative and just really open conversation. And I really think with the group that we have and all of our committees, it really will be.
Very good. Anything else, any questions on that?
Nope, I just wanted to run you by, I put this in here, it will be emailed to you, I wanted to share it with you guys first and talk to you about it. But this is for the survey in your packet, is for you to answer in the next week if you could. So this will be sent out to you, I'll send it out first thing in the morning to the board and the committees. This is so Christina can have a better understanding moving into this and really have a plan in place so we're all just not spitting out ideas. She'll give us direction through this survey. And then she also has the survey that Grace you put together from the community that she's also taking into account.
Very good. Next on the agenda was the 501c3 Board of Directors application process.
Yes, so we were able to meet with Grace and really lean on her experience with her current career and everything that she's done to set up their nonprofit. And she was able to walk us through the best way to bring in applications, what some of those people's backgrounds should be, as well as we were able to talk with Nick from Holly, that they have a nonprofit, and the process that they went through, and what that looks like. So, Grace, can you just give a quick overview of our meeting and share what you taught us?
Yeah, so we went through a lot of the kind of basics that we'll need to get done as a 501 to just be, have all of our ducks in a row legally. And then also setting up the board. So we are going to try to start small with a board, maybe 5 members, so that we have enough for an executive board and a liaison member to the DDA. And the idea is that for the executive kind of members on the board, so the chair, co-chair, treasurer, and secretary, that we find people who have vested expertise in each of those areas. So thinking about someone with an actual finance background to be the treasurer, trying to build, strong relationships in our community, maybe have someone from a local bank come and take that position. So that, when it does come time for us to do annual budget as a 501c3, and to be a part of the larger audit that the DDA and the village do every year, we have someone with that pretty good accounting background to, have good questions. Thinking about that for the entire board, how do we build out the skills that specifically a nonprofit will need as a foundation? So someone maybe with fundraising background or, experience working in philanthropy. That will be, I think, quintessential kind of skills that we're going to need as we're getting started up. So that board will need to look a little bit different than the skill sets that we have on this board, just because it's going to have different needs. Ideally, though, we would like to have a liaison position. It would only be quarterly meetings, not every month like this board. So having someone who can represent the DDA and be that liaison between the two boards, that would be the 5th position initially. But yeah.
Mr. Charles.
I have a gentleman who might fit the criteria for the finance gentleman. He's asked me about volunteering in Oxford, and he's in the finance world, and he's done tax returns and things like that for corporate as well as individuals too. So you can talk, unless you have somebody, but I do have a name.
We are going to do an application process. After the board is established for the first time, it will have its own nominating kind of processes. So it's not the same as the nominations from this board where, we kind of recommend someone and then it goes to the village to be appointed. That board will most likely kind of self-nominate. That's how it tends to work in that space, but definitely taking recommendations right now. We're going to create a more robust application process and try to get that vetted as soon as possible. We have a couple of people that have applications already that had actually applied for this board, so I think we're going to start there and look for a couple of people as well. So.
Yeah, we have one that was previously, they applied for the open position before Holly filled it. That one was a former CFO, one is an attorney, another one in finance from Oxford Bank. So I think we have some really strong applications already. when Kelsey let them know that they weren't going to fill the DDA role, she asked them about the 501, and they were interested and would like to move on in the process.
Very good.
We think that when we talked today, that Grace would be wonderful to put as the chair of that board, just because her background is in nonprofit, and she has started a nonprofit, a 501 before, in her current role. But she might not want to sit on this board anymore, so we'll leave that up to her. But I think that we could really use her guidance moving forward on the 501. Our plan of action would be to have everything buttoned up and do our first kind of crowd fund by fall after the Scarecrow Fest, when everybody loves us. Would be a really good idea.
Good. Any other questions, comments? Good, good idea. Moving forward. Take us down to new business, Dragon on the Lake boat race.
If Kimberly were here, she would say, please put your foot in your mouth. Because we were on our podcast the other day interviewing Matt Gibb, the DDA director in Lake Oregon, and they started talking about the Dragon on the boat races and the 20-person teams, and we might have challenged the Lake Oregon DDA to a boat race. That's fine. So the way this came up is we were talking about it, but lo and behold, Jacob Nicosia, who sits on our village council, his wife is in charge of the event from the Lake Oregon Art Center. So it's $1,200 for a boat. We thought maybe we would just partner with Lake Oregon, because I don't feel like we are going to get 20 of you to say yes.
There's not even 20 of us.
But we were thinking maybe a hashtag Stronger Together boat with the Lake Oregon DDA to show our continued partnership. But Lake Oregon was pretty sure that they could find a sponsor to come in and just sponsor the $1,200 boat, and if we are willing to help row. So I just wondered if anybody would be interested. Look at your faces.
Yeah.
Can you look at each other in the eyes? Because I'm looking at this. It wouldn't just have to be DDA. We'd go to village council, ask village council. Kimberly and I are all in. I made her. Our interns are all in. So that's 4. Do you think this is something we could participate in if we can find the sponsorship?
It would be 10 people, or how many from Oxford, do you think?
Well, probably 10 from Oxford, 10 from Lake Oregon. Yeah. Should we try?
Sounds like lots of fun.
I'm not
Yeah,
signing
should
up.
we try? So I heard that it's
Upper
not a
body.
ton of training. It's not as much of a, I'm going to the meeting on Wednesday night at the boathouse
think it
to
needs to
learn
be
some
35
more, which is fun to run it by you guys. I feel
your son to
that
do it.
you're not excited.
Get your son.
I gotta go to
Yeah.
the gym, or, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of feel like this is like a good team bonding experience, you know, like working together, right? 1, 2, 3, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Heard.
I'll take that as, maybe I'll have more information for you guys next month.
Very good.
Great,
Yep.
All right. New business B,
yes.
Washington Square painting artwork.
Yes, so this is
Design,
a,
whatever.
Grace and I were walking through Washington Square. Grace has been so wonderful with her friends to clean up that space multiple times when things are wind and flying all over. So what we're finding is things that can't move in the wind would be way more beneficial. We had talked about this idea in the past. We actually chalked it out if you were in Washington Square the other day. I had my kids out there chalking this out. But the idea is to have more paint on the ground that's not movable. It's not blowing in the wind. It's not something that we have to continue to repurchase. And it's things like, you know, like cornhole, but it's in a different shape and form, right? And it's painted. And then sensory obstacle courses for kids that they can hop and skip and jump. And there are things that we can still host all the events that we want to host there, because it's not in anybody's way, but it's less work on my staff, it's less work on the community, because they're not constantly going and chasing things. So what we did is I chatted, Nick Hotman has to come in and finish the mural behind Victoria's. He owes us some additional signage and things back there. So I asked him about this. He said, what would be really neat is if he, in 2 weeks when he was here, painted the outline, and then we made it more of a community day for our local artists in the area to come out and actually paint inside those lines. So kind of a paint by number sort of thing, but really represent the community rather than just one artist. Less than $1,000 for materials in that day. We can get the community involved. It can always be, you know, ground off the pavement if we wanted to, but I think it's an amazing opportunity to get the community involved, and it'd be really, really fun in that area, and would keep us from continuously buying things. I've now put the checkerboard back together 4 times in just 2 weeks.
So is this for materials, is it, what this is for?
$1,000 for his time for that day. Most of it is donated, and then materials. I am going to, he said for me to ask Home Depot if they would donate, because if you're doing something that's sensory for kids, a lot of times they will. He's done these projects in other states and they donated, but I asked him for a $1,000 budget and that we wouldn't go over that, and then we can get down to the details. So it might come in at less than $1,000, but I didn't want it to go over.
Grace?
Yeah, so I'm wondering, since we would be buying the materials anyways, if this can just be a volunteer day, like if we need to have Nick involved in the process, or if we could just buy the materials and then have the volunteer day with the high school and stuff involved.
I would love somebody to draw the outlines and make it look cohesive, and then for us to come in and paint. What I don't want to do is have it look a mess. And I'm just worried that if it's not under somebody's supervision, that we'll have just random drawings all over, and I don't want that.
Well, let me say what I've mentioned before, though. There's an issue with Nick Hotman being reliable, or should I say unreliable. You know, I hired him to do a project. He didn't do the project that was identified, and then he didn't follow up. He said he would do certain things. He never did that. I called him about it. He said he was sick, and out of sympathy, I paid him. And after that, he never came back to finish a job, and then he wouldn't answer the phone. So I can't see hiring Nick Hotman to do anything based on his lack of reliability. In fact, I called him the day, and again, no answer. So I have a problem with Nick Hotman being unreliable.
Is there a stencil or some commercially available art kits for
The
these?
stencils that you can go on and find, like on Etsy and things like that, are a couple $100s, and that's just for one
Yeah.
like little pass. So it would end up costing us more if we were to try to do it on our own.
Is there somebody else besides him who might be more reliable?
I don't know of anybody else in the area that does this sort of thing, but it's not to say that we can't reach out and ask. I do feel like him donating more of his time, it will end up costing us additional, which I'm fine with.
Well, we don't know
For us,
until we
Nick
ask.
has not been unreliable. He's always completed what we needed him to do, but I do understand your frustration with your space.
Well,
hope that
I think
he-
regardless of the issues with him being unreliable, I think another board member brought it before, we need to look for somebody else besides him too. He doesn't live in the area, he's out in Colorado or someplace like that, so there's a couple issues in addition to being unreliable.
I don't think we would ever bring him back in just for this project, but because he's going to be here anyways and was willing to donate his time, that's where the thought process came from.
Grace?
So I'm wondering, because I have brought up before that we've had the same artist do now most of the murals in town, and that was something that did come back in our feedback from our public survey and in our residents committee meeting, that people wanted to see other artists celebrated alongside the one artist that's been everywhere. So I could anticipate some pushback from the community just for having him do more artwork in the area. But I am wondering, since we already have the idea, we have the pictures, like if we could approach someone else to donate time, maybe someone from the Oxford Virtual Academy, like a teacher or maybe an art teacher at the high school who could come out and help do the outlines. So it could still have that cohesion. So I do think that there's a space within the community to still ask of that volunteering time. Even if they were to come and outline in chalk and then we could paint that day in the chalk outlines, that would probably be less intensive than outlining with paint first. So just wondering if there's other potential for volunteers
Maybe
there.
reaching out to the Orion Arts Center.
Yeah.
I mean, they do chalk art, you know, they must have some knowledge of local artists.
Other than that, though, I think that this is a fabulous idea, and we should definitely do this in the square. It did look, I think, really colorful and beautiful when the chalk kind of mocked thing was out there. I'd even run into a woman who was sitting on the bench. She was maybe in her 80s, just enjoying the morning, and she was just so excited by what the kids had done there the night before. So yeah, I think we should move forward with this type of project. I definitely think we should look for another artist to be involved as the kind of creative director for the project.
So how would we move forward then? Because I think, I mean, personally, I like the idea, and I agree with you, Kelly, about moving stuff around. I think it's a great idea, so it's, how do we proceed? Is it something that you can find somebody like you mentioned about the Orion Arts Center, or somebody else that could do it besides this person, or what's the best way to do it? I mean, we don't have a timeline other than the annoyance of waiting and having you move stuff around.
I would look at a couple of board members stepping forward to help come to bring it forward. I mean, and again, it's adding something more onto Kelly's plate for her to be
Yeah.
calling all over the place trying to facilitate that. So
I mean-
if some of you have ideas on who you think could do it, then I think that's the route we need to take.
I could call the Orion Arts Center, that's not bad.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, I would say if somebody else can, it's hard to vet those artists and to actually see, have they done this before and are they able to do something that's well done and make sure that it's clean and things like that. So it's definitely a long process, I would say. And the other part of it is too, do we want to capitalize on the summer? Or do we want to wait another month to bring it back in front of the board?
I would
Well,
move
we want to go for
forward.
the project, but
Yeah, I
not the
wouldn't
person you're
wait.
talking about. That's pretty clear.
So do I bring it back, do I bring artists back to the board next month? Is that the clarity on this?
That makes sense? I mean, that's kind of
Well,
our...
do you need board approval to approve the funds regardless of who gets that money? Or do we need to approve the actual intended artist?
Well, we'd have to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
I guess I'm thinking that they're going to bring us a budget probably unless we can get the funds donated or the paint donated. And then we have to see if somebody is willing to do it for free.
So should we vote on that? Let's see about proceeding on the project, but finding another person to do it, besides what's presented here. So I'll make a motion that we pursue the project and DDA look to find additional people to implement the project.
I would word it as additional proposals, not necessarily replacing.
No, I didn't, did I say replace? Whatever,
No,
but
no.
I agree with you, I agree with where you're going with it. So
Multiple
How-
proposals or bids is what I'm
Yes.
saying.
have multiple proposals, yes. So how do we rephrase that again? So I move that we approve the project, but look at multiple proposals. Does that work?
Yes.
So you want me to bring the proposals back next month?
Unless we don't have a special meeting in between. I mean, I'm
That's the only
perfectly
way
fine
we'll
if
be
it's
able
going
to
to take
vote
a group of, we can always get together for 20 minutes sometime and do a special meeting if that helps.
Yeah, we have to, yeah.
Yeah.
Unless we can make a motion tonight to not exceed a certain amount and the
that's too
artist is
early.
TBD, just to get it moving. I'm just throwing out ideas.
Well, we have a motion on the floor right now,
Right.
right? We have to pursue the project, but look for multiple, is that the right word? Is that what you said? Multiple proposals? So,
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it. Yes, 3.
Moved by Charles, seconded by Powers that we seek additional proposals to provide the work. Correct? And
But we
then
prove the concept.
it would need to come back before the board to approve the expenditure of the funds. Do a roll call then?
Sure. Carrie?
Yes.
Schultz?
Yes.
Powers?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Piper?
Yes.
And Colvin, yes.
Okay. Items removed from the consent agenda, there were none. Board member comments? Great.
Yeah, I mean, we're off to a good summer already. There's been a lot of lively activity in the downtown the past few weeks. It's been really nice to see the flower boxes up. I can see those from my window, so it's a nice little bit of color. But yeah, as always, thank you to all of our volunteers who are constantly coming out and helping make all of this possible, and to the entire DDA.
Good. Marie?
Thank you for the ladies' night out, the 80s. I thought it was a lot of fun, and we got good response from it. So any pub crawl is a good pub crawl.
Very good. Rod?
Also,
Catherine?
Welcome to our new member.
Yes.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you, everyone. Downtown looks great, so.
Good. Holly, any comments?
No.
Kelly, Kimberly, thank you again for everything that you guys have done. It's a heck of a lot of stuff that you guys have got on your plate that you're putting forward and everything, and especially the scheduling like you guys have been going through for the last couple of weeks and everything is phenomenal. So keep up the good work, and thank you very much. It's definitely noticed by everybody in the community and everything. It's been so nice driving by, in the evenings when there is, quote, nothing going on, and finding, 10, 12, 15 people in Washington Square, and the kids are all playing, the adults are all playing, and that's what the whole project is about, is just getting somebody out there to have a safe place to play and to be able to enjoy the community. And if we can provide that for them, then I think we're doing what our job was here at the board. So great job, and thank you very much.
I'll make a
And
motion to adjourn.
all in favor?
Aye.